Welcome to the Fit Chicks and Hormones podcast, where we focus on all things midlife, hormones, and how to finally feel good in your body again. I'm Angie, a fellow midlife survivor and a coach, here to help you stop guessing and finally get results with hormone smart habits that actually work. Let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fit Chicks and Hormones podcast. I am Angie Marone, your host, and today we're talking about detoxification and why it matters so much in perimenopause and menopause than it ever did before. And if you know me and you've been listening for a long time, right, you know I'm not talking about a detox diet. I'm not talking about detox teas or detox water or a 3-day juice cleanse, right? Those things are ridiculous. That is not what I'm talking about here. I'm actually talking about how your body actually detoxes every single day. Because the reality is there's constantly stuff coming at you through your skin, so your lotions, your makeup, your cleaning products, through your food, through the air that you breathe. And on top of all of that, your body is also trying to clear out all the extra hormones that have been used up. And so it's like a full-time job for your body to do all this stuff, right? And the organ that is doing all of the work is your liver. And it's doing a lot. It gets overwhelmed. And that is why we start to feel crappy. That's why we don't feel good when we hit perimenopause and menopause, is because the liver is sluggish. It's not able to do all the work. So it's really important for you to understand that once you hit perimenopause and menopause, your liver is working harder than it's ever had to work before. And if that clearance system, so clearing all the stuff out, isn't working well, those used up hormones, especially the estrogen, they don't leave the way that they're supposed to. They just recirculate back into your body, and that shows up as bloating, mood swings, belly fat, along with so many other hormonal symptoms that you may be experiencing. You know, there's a whole slew of them. I just did a list of them on one of my reels the other day. You know you're in perimenopause if, boom. And a lot of it leads back to because your body is not detoxing properly. And it's not because you really changed anything, but I'm going to explain because it actually has to do more. So let's talk about first, how do you know if your body is actually struggling to detox? So here's a couple examples that I want to think about. If you have a glass of wine or a margarita or a beer or something, and the next day you're like, what just happened? I feel absolutely horrible, right? But it never did before. You used to feel fine. If you go and get your labs tested and they come back normal, right? But you're like, but I feel puffy, I feel inflamed, I can't think, I'm just off. That's probably a detoxification issue. The week before your period, right? We've all probably had some type of PMS. I remember those years. But now you're like getting so angry or you're so over emotional that week before your period. But this wasn't like that before. Then that's how you know that you're having a detoxification issue, okay? Your body is struggling to detox. So today I want to explain what real detox is actually about, and I'm going to talk about a couple genes that maybe you've never heard about, but I like to bring them up because I myself carry them, and it's a little bit different process when it comes to detoxification if you carry these genes. It's called the MTHFR gene and the COMT gene, COMT. And just why detoxification is so important in midlife, more so than it ever was before. Because, you know, at 20s, we used to trash our bodies. We used to drink, smoke, eat all the junk, and we were fine. But everything was working a lot differently then. It's changing now. And not that you're doing anything different or you're doing anything wrong. Your body is just in a different place. So I'm going to get a little bit sciencey here, but I want to keep it simple because I find that simple is easier to understand, and then once you understand it, you can make the decisions to make some changes so that you don't have to feel so cruddy in your body. Okay, so first let's start with the liver. So like I said, the liver is the one doing all of the work. Your liver is doing all of the work, and it has a lot of work to get done. It's working nonstop. So there are two phases in your detox process. So phase 1 and phase 2, and I'm going to break these down super simple if I can. So phase 1 is where your liver takes a toxin or a used up hormone and converts it into something else, kind of like it breaks it into pieces, right? And then phase 1 creates something called reactive intermediates in this process. So, and on their own, they are more reactive in our system, more harmful. So imagine it's going into your system, it's breaking them into pieces, and then they're just kind of circulating, floating through your body, right? That's going to cause more harm to you than when it started with one big piece, right? So if your body stops right there and those particles or pieces continue circulating through your body, it's not a good place for your body to be. That is where phase 2 comes in. So phase 1 comes in, a big piece breaks apart. Phase 2 is where your liver takes those pieces and attaches something to them. Think of like they're packaging them back up. So they're putting them back together so they become water soluble and can actually be flushed out through your urine, through your bile. And that's why we also need to make sure you're pooping every single day. So that's something to keep in mind. So phase 1 breaks it apart. Phase 2 packages it up and pushes it out. And you need both of those things to be working and working well, working in sync for detox to actually happen the way that it's supposed to. And just so you understand, it's the same pathways doing both jobs. The plastic, so let's see, the plastics that you get from water bottle, right, that are not good for you. Chemicals from your face cream, the pesticides on the foods that you eat, the fumes from your cleaning products, they all go through phase 1 and phase 2. And so does your used up estrogen. It goes through your liver, goes through the same phases, all the same things, but remember, your liver can only do so much. So think about what that means. Your liver isn't running one line for toxins and a separate line for hormones. So the hormones and the toxins are all being routed into one system, and then it's getting pushed out, right? So imagine it like traffic. We'll talk about this next. So why is this important in midlife? Because right as your hormonal load is going up, so your liver is handling all the things that it had to before, now it's getting worse. And it's because the demand went up and nothing else can be added to that capacity. So in perimenopause, estrogen goes through the same exact pathway. Your liver processes used estrogen through phase 1 and 2, just like everything else. But if phase 2 is backed up and it's not keeping up with phase 1, which is very common, you end up with a buildup. And the estrogen that should be cleared out is not going anywhere. It's just recirculating back into your body. Okay, that's what we call estrogen dominance. I have done a podcast on this before. You can go through and find that, a YouTube video. I have done one, so if you want to learn more about that, you can do that. So that's the bloating, the mood swings, the belly fat, the hot flashes, the joint pain. There's so many things that are happening because your body is not detoxing properly. Hopefully this is making sense, right? So now let's add in somebody who, like me, has those extra genes that affect your detox pathways. So again, I'm talking about the MTHFR and the COMT or COMT gene. Let's first talk about the MTHFR. This gene gives your body instructions for an enzyme that's involved in something called methylation. Methylation is a process your body uses for a ton of things. It repairs your DNA, it regulates your mood, and it helps your liver detox properly, especially in that phase 2 packaging step that I just talked about, okay? But if you have a variant in this gene, your methylation process doesn't run as efficiently as it should. So what that means is phase 2 detox, the part where your hormones actually get packaged up and flushed out, it slows down. They're not getting out of your system as quickly as they would have before. Okay, so that's happening. Then there's the COMT or the COMT gene. This one's an enzyme that's specifically involved in breaking down estrogen and stress hormones like adrenaline and dopamine. So if you have what's called the slow COMT gene, which I do, there's 2 variants. There's a fast and slow. You kind of want to know which one you have. Your body breaks things down more slowly. So estrogen and stress hormones hang on around longer than they should. Makes total sense. If you heard my last couple of podcasts and some of my stories, I've been talking about how I just feel exhausted and a lot going on. And I've had a lot more stress, so it's probably just lingering in my body, and I need to get it out so that I don't feel so awful. Anyway, so if you put those two together, both of those genes, what they're doing to your body, you've got a body that's slower to clear both estrogen and stress hormones, and slower to package up whatever it does break down so that it can actually get rid of it. That's a lot of backup. Imagine yourself, even like you think about when you get constipated. Do you feel good? No, you do not. You are uncomfortable. You're bloated. You just don't feel good. It's the same thing that's happening here. Is it's getting backed up. Everything that's supposed to get out of your body is getting backed up. So you're experiencing a lot more symptoms. You're not feeling good. But this doesn't mean that you can't detox properly. Myself or you, if you have these genes, you just need a little bit more support doing what everybody has to do anyway. Think of it like this. If everyone's liver is a highway, so we're moving out of town, right? Whoop, we're going out of town. Mine has fewer lanes. So instead of 6 lanes, mine only has 2, maybe 3. The traffic's still moving. It needs to keep flowing. It's just going slower. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. And there's less, it's taking a lot longer for it to get through. So I went over that kind of fast, but if you want to learn more about these two genes, I did do another entire episode on those two variants, what they are, how to find out if you carry them, and what you should do about them. I will drop that link in the show notes so you can go and listen or watch that on YouTube after this one. Just to know a little bit more information, because I was just having a conversation with somebody on Instagram, and she's like, nobody talks about this stuff. I know I have these genes and there's so much confusing information out there. I don't even know what I should be doing. And I understand I've had to learn over the past 10 years since I learned about these, that my life just has to be a little bit different than I may choose it to be. But if I want to feel good in my body, this is what I have to do. All right. So, and I've talked a lot about my own story, right? On the show, my own hormonal chaos, when I went through the mold exposure, the autoimmune flares that I had, the years of no sleeping, and just not knowing why I felt so awful. But at that time, I didn't understand it was because I had these two genes. That made me feel worse than most people. And because I was living in a moldy environment, my body was having to work triple as hard as everyone else's, because it was trying to detox the hormones, trying to detox all the other products, and trying to get rid of the mold that I was taking in as well. So that's when I got tested. That's when I was like, I went through all these things and things just weren't quite clicking. So I got tested, and that's when I got my genetic testing done. But until then, I didn't know. I just knew that something felt off. And the things I was doing, they weren't working like it did for other people. And I remember so many people making fun of me and saying like, oh my gosh, you're so sensitive. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're reacting to that. Oh my, you're so sensitive. I remember this, and this is probably trauma, right? Because people are like, you're so sensitive. I'm like, but it's not like I'm trying to be sensitive. My body was just trying to give me information, and I was trying to figure it out. But to other people, it made me seem like something's wrong with me. I'm weird. I'm different, right? But it wasn't because I was doing something wrong. It was just that my detox pathways needed more support than what everyone else was given, all the advice everyone else was given. And that was huge. When I discovered that, that's why I coach now, because I know that when you feel like you're doing everything right and still not getting the results, you kind of have to take a step back and look at what's happening underneath. It's not just what's going on the outside, but what is happening inside your body. What is going on in your body? And sometimes when I talk to women and we've tried a lot of things, I'm like, you know what? Quite possibly, because there are so many more people now than because we're knowing more about it that have these genes that didn't know. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe we need to fine tune things just a little bit more for your body, just in case you have these genetic markers. And here's the thing. Even if you do make changes, if you don't have them, you're still making your body that much in a better place, more healthy, right? And it enables you to get more results. So it's not like it's bad. You just have to realize that Your life may look a little bit different than everyone else's. Like, because I eat pretty clean. I avoid almost all dairy, almost all wheat. I don't consume sugar. I have hardly any to very, very, very little alcohol, if none at all. And I feel sometimes like I get judged. Like, oh my gosh, she's such a boring person. She doesn't like to have any fun. I can have fun without having those things. I can enjoy a meal without those. I can have a good time without drinking alcohol. Because for me to feel my best, that is the lifestyle that I need to carry. Or I would have to go back to feeling like crap all the time. And I'm not willing to do that. So I've had to learn how to just kind of brush off the judgments. Because it's my life and my body and I want to feel good. And maybe that's where you need to get. If it's bothering you because you don't want to make changes because people are judging you, it's not their life. It's not their body. It's not what they have to go through. It's what you have to go through. So anyway, enough of that tangent. I just wanted to go off on that because, I'm happy with the way that I am, and I'm okay with it. And it gets easier if people are like judging me. I'm like, whatever, that's on them. I don't care. I still feel good in my body. Anyway, okay, moving on. All right. So let's talk about why this hits harder when you are in perimenopause and menopause. So during this transition, your hormone levels, they aren't just slowly going down, right? You've heard me talk about this a million times. They're going up and down and up, and sometimes spiking, sometimes dropping. Like, you just never know what is happening. Your body is constantly trying to process them and clear them, and estrogen can spike before it drops. So it can go higher, which is going to make things harder before it goes lower when you're in postmenopause. Your body's producing, using, and needing to clear out more hormonal traffic than it did in your 20s and 30s. 20s and 30s, it was just the same, right? It's different now because of the way the hormones are changing. So if your detox pathways are already backed up and running behind, whether it's because you have the two genes that I talked about or just years of stress. I mean, how many of us can raise our hand for that? Or poor gut health because of the food that we eat, or the food that's processed, or the way the food is just anymore. It's wearing down your capacity to detox. And so that's when that backlog starts to show up. And that's when I have a lot of women reaching out to me or talking to me or telling me, you know what, every time I eat now I get bloated. But at the end of the day, I have to unbutton my pants because they're just uncomfortable. I am an emotional mess. I am crying about everything, or I'm angry at everyone, or I have belly fat now that just came overnight. I don't know what happened, but it's there and I don't like it, right? These are the things that I'm hearing, and this is why. Because your detoxification system is backed up. It's not that you're doing something wrong. It's not that you're failing. It's that the demand went up right as your clearance system was maxed out. And now it doesn't know what to do. Which is why you need to tell it what to do, right? So, how can you know if you are struggling to clear your hormones well? Because you don't need to do a genetic test like I mentioned. You don't need to do it. You just need to notice, are some of these symptoms or signals me? Then that tells you that you are not processing your hormones out as easily. So how many of these can you say yes to? You feel worse the week before your period, not just a little bit off like normal, because it's really changed in the last year or two, but actual rage or tears that seem to come out of nowhere and you don't know why it's happening, right? Right before your period. You have bloating that I talked about. No matter what you eat, you can eat really clean, you can drink whatever, but by the end of the day, you're so uncomfortable in your clothes. You hate the way that you feel. You don't feel like eating. You're so bloated and it's awful. Or you've went to your doctor, had your labs done, and they come back normal, but you're still feeling puffy, inflamed. You're feeling foggy brained. You just don't feel like yourself. You went in for a specific reason and they said, you're normal, you're fine. But you leave feeling like, but I'm not. This is not my body. This isn't me. if caffeine or alcohol hits you different than it used to. So if you have a glass of wine or margarita, beer, something, and the next day you are exhausted, you're tired, you're foggy, you're achy, it throws your whole day off. And you probably don't sleep that night either. Like in college, right? We could drink a lot, sleep all night, wake up and go again. Doesn't happen that way anymore. If you get headaches that are tied to your cycle or around ovulation, this is a sign that your body is not detoxing properly. If your skin breaks out in a pattern that follows your cycle, if it's not random breakouts here and there, but right before your cycle or around your cycle, you start to get breakouts on your face. That is a sign that your body's not detoxing properly. That's a sign. Any type of skin issue is a detox issue. You feel wired but tired, so you have that anxious, buzzy energy that won't let you go to sleep, even when you're exhausted. You are sensitive to smells, medications, supplements, and those things never used to bother you before. That is me, 100%. 100%. I can walk into some store, and if we walk through like the laundry aisle or the candle aisle or something, like, it is way too strong in here. Way too strong. I can't do it. So if you sat there and you checked off many of these and you're like, that's me, yes, it's not just a coincidence. It's not because you're just getting older. It's not just because you're stressed out. It's your body telling you that it needs more support clearing your hormones and detoxing than it's currently getting. So hopefully you're going to stop and listen, okay? So what do? Right? You don't have to go get genetic testing to support this, because that's just going to tell you something. It's not going to tell you what to do. It can be informational. For myself, who has fine-tuned all the things but still not feeling the way that I want to, that's when I'm going to dive into my genetic testing to see, is something else just off? So here's where you start. Okay, first, make sure you're eating protein and fiber with every single meal. Your liver needs the amino acids from your protein to actually run these detox pathways. So protein isn't just important for muscle building and support and for making you feel full, but it actually helps you to have these detox pathways processed properly. Fiber is what helps get everything out, right? Fiber helps us poop. We need to poop. Ladies, you should be pooping every single day instead of letting all the stuff recirculate through your body, causing those symptoms that we don't want. This is the same gut health foundation I talk about all the time because it's genuinely that connected, okay? Your goal is to hit your protein every single meal and your fiber. And if you can get around 25 to 30 grams of fiber, you are queen. That's ideally where you should be. And it should not be that hard, especially if you do number 2, the second thing I'm going to talk about, which is eating lots and lots of cruciferous vegetables. This is broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. These contain compounds that directly support your phase 2 liver detox. They are helping to get it out, right? This packaging up, getting it out. You don't need a ton. You just need to be consistent eating them every single day. And you may be like, okay, but when I eat those things, I get gassy and bloated. Yes, you do. You will. Easy thing to help with that is take a digestive enzyme. I have all my clients take them twice a day. It makes a huge difference, especially if your body's not used to processing these vegetables. But you need them. So take the enzymes. If you want to know which ones, reach out to me. I'll let you know. Enzymes with the vegetables, with these cruciferous vegetables, okay? Third, you need to support your gut. This ties directly back to estrobolome content, which I've talked about before. If your gut isn't healthy, even hormones your liver successfully processes can get reabsorbed instead of leaving your body. It all comes back to the gut health, ladies. Liver and gut health are 2 parts of the same system, okay? So important. Excuse me. Number 4, go easy on the alcohol. You're not 20 anymore. You don't need to party like you're 20 anymore. And I get it. There's some occasions you're going to, and yes, that's okay. But pay attention to how your body's responding. If you have a glass a glass of something the night before and it affects your sleep and it affects how you focus and all the things the way you function the next day, that's information you need to be listening to. It's probably not something that your body really needs right now. Okay, so cut back if you can. Fifth, support your stress response. Chronic stress takes the same exact pathways involved in hormone clearance. This isn't about getting rid of stress. We cannot get rid of it. It's about giving your body real recovery time. So, getting good sleep, calming down your nervous system, taking a deep breath, slowing down, saying no, doing things that make you feel more calm so that it's not running on empty while it's trying to clear out the hormones, okay? And did you notice none of this requires any detox tea? None of it requires a cleanse. We don't need to cleanse our bodies. We don't need to detox our bodies. We need to get that detox pathway working again. And how does it happen? By being consistent with those steps that I just talked about. Specifically with the mind of, I want to help support my liver and heal my gut. That is what we're doing. That is what every foundation of everything that I talk about starts on, is those things, okay? All right, so if you listened to that and that signs list or anything and you're thinking, okay, that's me, then I have an option for you. My midlife makeover program is exactly what you need. Opening up your detox pathways to make your menopause transition so much easier, that is what we focus on in my midlife makeover program. Because we work on looking at what is actually going on with your body. Where do we start? What is actually going on internally in your body first? And then we talk about that specifically, your symptoms, your history, and then we go from there. Because every woman is different. I can give you a blueprint that I used for somebody else or even for myself, but it's not going to work because it's not meant for you. Everyone is different. No, we have to find what works for you specifically. And that may be why, if you're somebody who feels like, I'm doing all the things that I see online, I'm doing everything that everyone else is doing, but I'm not seeing progress. You are not that woman. You do not have the same lifestyle. You do not have the same body. You do not have the same things going on in your life as she does. It has to be something different. And that is what I do in this program, is I work with you as an individual to figure that out so that you can create the lifestyle that works for you. One that is going to get rid of all these hormonal symptoms. See that scale drop. Make you feel more confident, give you more energy, better sleep, all the things that you are looking for, that you are struggling with right now, because we're going to make this work for you, okay? So if you tried all the things and nothing's working, check the show notes, check out more information, or if you have questions, just message me on Instagram or Facebook, and I can ask you some more questions to even see if this program would work for you. Or maybe I just need to give you simple tips, some simple suggestions to try before you even try anything else. All right. That's all I got today. You can join the Midlife Makeover program at any time. It is open enrollment all the time. And I have 3 spots left. 3 spots, or 3 people I'm taking right now. So if you want one of those spots, again, check the show notes, check out the information, and reach out to me with any questions. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hopefully this was some helpful information. Share it with anyone, tag anybody in the post, in the show notes. Again, my goal is just to educate women so much more on the things that we don't know because nobody tells us, okay? I've been doing this a long time. I've been working on myself a long time. I've worked with many women. I know there's so much more. There's still so much more that we all need to know, and so hopefully this is helping with that. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and I will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. If today's episode hit home, make sure to subscribe to the show and share it with a friend who needs it too. And if you're ready for more support, come hang out with us in the Fit Chicks and Hormones community. The link is in the show notes. And until next time, keep showing up for yourself. You deserve it.